Today's vlog is going to have some farm action. Going to do some rototilling today. All three of us are going to head over to our high rotation plot across the highway and turn some beds over. We're going to rototill some beds and we're going to no-till or low-till some beds. And so I wanted to talk today for the reasons of that. And so these two beds here at our home base, these were beds that were on next to the caterpillar tunnel. So the caterpillar tunnels are all down now. Still got to pull the plastic out. But there's a bed here, and then there's a bed where that other plastic is between the between the greenhouses. So I want to rototill those because it's just faster to get them turned over. And I'm fully aware of all the consequences of rototilling, and I'm fully willing to accept those consequences in certain circumstances. My context right now is I just want to get these beds planted right away. And of the beds that I'm going to rototill, I'm going to plant crops like radish and turnips. And those crops are in and out of the ground quickly. So my main concern with rototilling is the bringing on of weeds that were in the soil and turning weeds that are on top of the soil under. That's my main concern. I'm not so concerned about people saying it destroys biological life and worms and all that stuff. I think there's a lot of BS in there because I've been rototilling for years in moderation, and I've got lots of bugs and lots of worms in my soil, and my soil is doing just fine. So anything in moderation is fine. So I'm fully willing to accept those consequences because it just makes things faster. We're still committed to doing most of our beds with very minimal tillage. That's why we use the tilther. But rototilling just does it way faster with way less labor. So in certain contexts, I like the best of both worlds, and that's kind of where I'm at now with it. Is I'll do some when it's needed or necessary, and won't at other times. So the present circumstances right now in which I prefer to do it is when we're going to plant beds of Salanova with landscape fabric, I prefer to till because it's easier to plant them in the holes in the fabric, and I'm not worried about weed pressure because the fabric suppresses those weeds. And when I'm doing some kind of quick crop like radishes, that's a crop that comes on quickly and it's all out of the ground. So I wouldn't rototill where in the case where I was going to till a bed and then plant something like arugula or any other type of cut and come again green besides our Salanova lettuce, because if that gets weedy, then it's a hassle, and I'm going to cut it multiple times, so it just creates more work. So for us, it's mostly about efficiency. So we're just loading up our gear. We're going to head over to that plot and we're going to harvest 2 beds of radishes really quickly, turn those beds over with low till with the tilther, and then the other ones we're going to stir up hoe out and then rototill those beds and then replant them to radishes. Yeah, everything. Toby's doing a bit of maintenance on the tilther. What are you doing there, Toby?
Just cleaning up.
Pulling stuff out of the tines.
Putting stuff out of the tines. We had some landscape fabric here.
Yeah, landscape fabric chunks that get tangled up in there.
Just cutting that out.
Roots.
That's why we burn fabrics.
That's why we burn the fabrics to cauterize them, so it doesn't do that, but sometimes we forget. Okay, we're doing a number of things here today. We are clean cropping out these 2 beds of radishes, so we're taking everything and then I'm gonna rototill them, or no, we're going to use the tilther on them, get them ready to replant, which replanting I'll probably do either later today or tomorrow. I just didn't have enough room to bring all that gear with us. And then we are going to stir up hoe out this arugula bed, which has been harvested many times, tatsoi bed as well, and then we decided to turn over this bed of red Russian. It's only been cut twice, but we're overproducing on red Russian right now, and so I'd rather get more spinach in the ground, which I think I've got another week window where I can plant spinach without it bolting on me. So we've got a lot of demand for spinach, so we're gonna rototill at least 2 of those beds to go to radish. We might do the tilther on this one so that we can put it to spinach. The other thing we're gonna do is lay down some landscape fabric just to kill off this area of grass at our landowner's place. She doesn't need it, and it's just producing weeds and grass seed that eventually makes its way into the plot, so we might as well just smother it out. So again, the reason why we did these shallow till is because those are going to be a cut and come again green. They're going to go to spinach, I've decided. And then I'm just going to till these two because it's going to be radishes. I don't care if the odd weed comes up through it. They're going to be in and out of the ground really quickly. And then we're going to do this one with shallow till as well because that's going to go to carrots. But Toby's going to fork, or one of us will fork this bed before we run the tilther, because I want a nice loose soil for the carrots. So I'm planting spinach with the earthway seeder. It's the only thing I use the earthway seeder for now, just because I haven't found a roller for the jang that works nearly as well, that gives me the yield that I'm accustomed to. If somebody out there knows of a roller for the jang and how many rows you do in a bed, I'd love to hear it. Let me know what your yield is too, because we get a lot off these 5 rows. So see with the earthway seeder, so the one thing I hate about this tool is that the back wheel picks up soil and sticks to it if the soil is at all wet, whereas the jang has a part that scrapes that off the back wheel. So that's a major design flaw in the earthway. Well, we finished everything up at that plot, loaded the truck back up, and now we're back at the home base doing some cleanup on the side plot over here. Now that our caterpillar tunnels are all down, we've got more access. We can get in there, so I'm gonna till the 2 beds that were on the ends, and we're re-landscape fabricing the perimeter. We had squash in that area last year. We're not gonna put anything in there this year, and just kind of do a bunch of cleanup around here. This weed here is farm enemy number 1. This is called field bindweed. It's the worst weed we have, mainly because it spreads very easily. So I'm planning on rototilling these beds, but I wouldn't recommend rototilling them until you dig out all the field bindweed that you can see. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to get out all the roots to at least 10 inches so that when I till, I'm not grinding these roots up and then spreading them around. That is going to be suicide for this soil if I don't. It'll make this worse. But I want to rototill these beds because it's just going to be a faster way to prep them. And I'm just going through and digging out all this field bindweed. That is field bindweed, and the rhizomes can go really deep under the ground. So the best way to manage this over time organically is to not rototill. But I've dealt with it and mitigated enough over the years now that I know I can deal with it if I isolate it to where it was, the areas that it is, dig it out, till a couple times, then leave it. But one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you clean the tines off your tiller before you go and rototill anywhere else, because then you'll be spreading this around to other plots, and I've done that in the past.